Just a few moments ago, the Clay County Sheriff's Office SWAT team was able to make entry into a camper trailer that was on the Lancaster property that we believed was the possible hiding place of the suspect, Murray Lancaster. Upon making entry into the mobile home, the mobile trailer, we found Murray Lancaster deceased from a self-inflicted gunshot wound, and that concludes the manhunt. We are releasing the lockdowns on all the schools, trying to return traffic to a normal pattern. The incident is over and everyone is safe at this point. We again send our condolences not only to the families of the victims but to the Lancaster family as well. The family has been notified. This is a terrible and tragic event for our community. It manifests and brings to light the fragile nature of life and how things can happen in just a moment to ruin many, many lives and fracture many, many families. I don't know what other questions you may have. I'll entertain any questions that we can answer.
Are all your officers okay? No one was injured during this, correct?
No one was injured. No officers or anybody else. No civilians were injured other than the members that the families that we talked about earlier.
Did you make contact with him at any point?
We did not have any contact with him. I think that this had been a very rapidly unfolding situation. He made contact with some family members. He posted some things on Facebook. He attempted to go by the school and see his children and left a message for them. Then he, we believe, retreated back to that trailer and probably had already committed suicide prior to really a lot of all the investigative efforts unfolding.
What was the sense of what he was saying about, what was he saying in those communications that he made to family?
I haven't seen the Facebook pages. I've been watching television from our command post. I know y'all been posting things on there, so I really don't know.
What is the working theory you might have on what the motive could be here?
Well, you know, this looks like it was all originated from a domestic situation that involved his ex-wife and his current girlfriend. We'll have to unravel all that in the coming days, talking to lots of witnesses, talking to people to try to solidify what the motive was. But I'm fairly certain it's going to be a domestic type situation where divorces and child custody and things like that were involved.
Could you confirm, we've been hearing that there was some sort of court hearing that was supposed to happen today. Could you talk to us about that?
Well, we know that there was a violation of a court order and there had been an arrest, and that was working its way through the criminal justice system. I'm not certain that there was a court appearance today or not. I don't know. I haven't been given that information.
Involving who exactly was the court?
Well, Murray Lancaster was arrested for violating an injunction that one of the other victims had against him, the girlfriend.
Sheriff, what can we expect in the coming days for your deputies as well as for your officers? As you said, a lot of you knew each and every one of these victims.
Well, you know, what makes this case so particularly difficult for us is that there's so many people involved that are connected to the sheriff's office, either through past employment or through people that work there now that are closely related to some of the victims. It's just, you know, it's a very difficult case from that standpoint because we all know these folks. And all the men and women who are out there today, the dozens of officers, both from Green Cove and Orange and our agency, know these people. And that just brings it so close to home and makes it so difficult to have to do this and break the news to people that their loved ones have been killed. It's a heartbreaking situation. But
I'm sorry. You said you tried to go by and see his kids. At what point along this did that happen, and how?
We're still trying to figure that out.
yeah, we're still trying to figure that out. One of the Green Cove officers just briefed me on that when I came into the room, that a teacher at the school relayed that information to us. And you know, it would have been very early, probably while officers were still responding to the crime scenes, not really knowing what we had at that point. He had an opportunity to leave and travel around. The distances are not very far. It only takes a matter of a few minutes. So I'm sure that was when that occurred.
But he wasn't able to see them, or
Was not able to see them, no.
No.
Do we know anything about what may have occurred before the shooting, any incidents between he and any of the...
We're going to piece all that together. It's been so fast moving, and we've been more focused on finding the suspect. We haven't completed that part of the investigation, but yes, especially with Green Cove and their kidnapping case that started the whole thing, they'll have to do a lot of legwork on that.
Can you just give us a brief rundown of the incidents of how this all unfolded this morning?
I'm sorry, say that again?
Can you give us a rundown of how this unfolded this morning?
You want to do that?
Yeah. We, initial call obviously was the kidnapping at the hair salon. Officers responded to 911 calls there. A description was gained and a name was actually gained of the suspect. Bolo was immediately broadcast. Within minutes, we received a second 911, several 911 calls in reference to the shooting on the west side of Magnolia West, which is off of 315 in Medina. Officers responded to that location, found both subjects had been shot. While responding to that call, the third call for a shooting came in on 911, excuse me, the third call on 911, second shooting at the Rosemary Hill dump site located just west of the initial scene. Clay County Sheriff's Office responded to that. So it was a very, very moving and fluid situation. Obviously, 3 911 calls, all of them, requiring priority 1 response, and obviously all 3 of them were connected. So that's the timeline there.
Could you tell us how Murray Lancaster was not able to see his kid? Was somebody tipped off that he was on his way?
No, I don't believe at that point in time they were tipped off. We are looking into that right now. It may have been that he didn't have access. Remember, there was a restraining order issued against him for the wife. The wife is obviously the one who normally picks up the children. So, the girlfriend. So there was a restraining orders that were issued. So it may have been brought to the school also by the warrants unit as far as the restraining order.
You didn't even make it to the school, right? You didn't even...
No, he was seen by a, we're still following this up now. He was seen by a teacher and then left the area.
Were the children there?
Yes.
At the time that he arrived?
Yes, they were at the school.
Was there a restraining order for the children as well?
I don't know that. I know there was a restraining order against him. I know that that it was in reference to a domestic battery that had occurred in the city about a month ago. We had detectives work that, so we've been working with the court system on that, ensuring that it went its normal path.
Have you been in touch with former Sheriff Lancaster today?
Yes, I spoke with him on the phone just a few minutes ago and made the notification that his nephew had been found deceased in the trailer. He was very complimentary of the work that had been done by the men and women, many of them that he hired and trained years ago today, and was devastated by the events that have happened. And my heart goes out to him and to the entire Lancaster family for what they're having to go through right now.
Is he back in town?
He's not in town right now. He's on his way.
Can you talk at all about what you found inside the house when you went in today? Anything that you can discuss at this point?
No, as soon as we found out that the suspect was in the trailer, we immediately departed and came here. So they're doing the search and what have you now. That information will be forthcoming later on.
Was the trailer his residence?
The trailer was on the Lancaster property. There's a barn in the center of the property that you can see from the aerial photos y'all are broadcasting. Inside of that barn was parked the camper, and that was where he was found.
Mr. Sheriff, could you tell us how you guys found that he was there with a 911 call or able to respond to him?
Located the vehicle. We were able to locate the suspect vehicle that was boloed on the property. So we, obviously tied it back to the shooting scenes. at which time Green Cove withdrew and called for the sheriff's office because we knew it was a SWAT, possibly a SWAT operation.
You said all the schools, the lockdowns have been lifted, is that right?
They are being lifted
Yes.
as we speak, and hopefully school transportation will be able to get back on track and get all the children home. We'd already made arrangements for buses to pick up the children and take them to a reunification site where the parents could pick them up. With different dismissal times at the different schools, I'm not sure which ones are going to be affected by that, but we're working with the parents, we're working with the schools and the school transportation to get all that taken care of.
Just remember, this is a walking community. It is the elementary school, a lot of the children walk to and from school. So there was a good effort by law enforcement, the sheriff's office, Green Cove, and I'd like to also say Clay County School District School Board and the superintendent as far as getting buses lined up for transportation to an off-site and stuff like that. Anytime that you have 3 schools within a half mile of a scene, it takes an awful lot of effort and a lot of time to put these plans together. But we trained for it and it worked out well.
Is the scenes is State Road 16 still blocked off?
Yes, it's still blocked off. It should be released probably in the next 20 minutes or so. And then obviously State Road 16, the scene off of State Road 16, we will open that roadway up, but we will hold a crime scene. We have detectives from Green Cove and Clay County Sheriff's Office and FDLE crime scene will obviously work that scene.
Sheriff, did Mr. Lancaster leave any direct messages or indicate in any of his postings or conversations that he was planning to do this and why he was going to do that?
Not to us, no. No, we have not. Of course, we haven't completed our investigation yet. As we dig further into it, we'll see if there's anything that's uncovered or discovered. I appreciate the coverage that you gave us today and the calls for public to be on the lookout just in the event that he had not gone back to that trailer. So thank you very much again. And
Can I just clarify something real quick? We all heard about the Palatka shooting, and initially we were told they're not connected. Is that correct? The shooting in Palatka is not connected?
Not connected.
No, it's not connected.
Not connected.
Not at all. Now, there was some reports that Lancaster had been employed at a paper mill, and the paper mill had gone on lockdown down there just in an abundance of caution, and we didn't know where he was. But that was not in any way connected to the other shooting that occurred in Putnam County that resulted in the lockdown of about a dozen schools down there.
Sheriff, real quickly, could you clarify if also Erica's children also attended Charles E. Bennett, or was it just Valerie's children?
I'm not exactly sure where all the children went, but they are all safe, and they're all with family now. Well, thank you all very much.
Thank you.